Well, hey there, book lovers. We are so excited to welcome you back to another episode of Young Adult Edition. Today, we are talking all about back to school, which means we are chatting about contemporary YA novels. I am k.m. Robinson, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Elle Beaumont. Elle, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am doing so well. We had quite the morning. We had a couple of technical difficulties, but we are back on our game and we are here to chat all about our contemporary novels. Did you have a decent weekend? How did it go? I know you were pretty busy, right?
I was busy. I was getting ready for my camping trip and it was just amazing but busy.
Yeah, definitely a busy weekend. I ended up being a little bit of a mermaid this weekend, which was kind of fun. I may or may not have some photos, and if you check my Instagram, you can actually check out me holding a copy of my book by the pool in a mermaid tail. It's kind of awesome. I may or may not be able to get it up on screen here. Let's check real quick. Oh, there it is. There we go. That's me impersonating Selena from the Siren Wars saga, hanging out with a copy of the Siren Wars, which is pretty awesome. Very excited about that. And we've got some interesting things going on in the book world this week. Let me see if I can take that down off my screen. There we go. We have some interesting things happening in the book world this week. I know, and we're just going to talk about this real quick because not everybody has had enough time to actually get involved with this one. But we had a major YA movie come out on Netflix this week. We were talking about To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which I have not read, but I did watch the movie. Have you watched it yet, Elle?
I have not. I do have the book, so I want to read those before I watch it, and maybe it'll get my butt in gear with reading it so I can hurry up and watch it before it's off.
Right. You kind of gotta get in there while it's still hot.
No spoilers. No spoilers, please.
Jump down in the comments, guys. Let us know what you thought about the movie, but please no spoilers. Let us know if you loved it, if it wasn't quite your cup of tea, if it didn't quite match up to the book. I know there are a whole range of feelings when it comes to this movie. I've been watching them all over Instagram this week. So we want to know, what do you think of the movie interpretation of To All the Boys I've Loved Before? Let us know down in those comments. And we're really excited because today we are talking all about contemporary novels. But first, there are a couple of new books coming out this week. Let's take a look at our new releases for this coming week. We're super excited. Lots of pretty covers. Let me get that full screen for you guys. Almost full screen. There we go. So these are the fabulous books coming out this week. We're super excited for you guys to get your hands on these. Have you read these? Did we miss any of these books? Let us know in the comments below because we want to make sure that we are hanging out and giving you all of the latest book releases. And if we missed one, we want to make sure we give them a shout out as well. So let us know. Did we miss any new releases? Are you excited for these? We want to hear from you down in the comments.
I'm excited
now, today we've got
Nightblood. Sorry about that.
I know you are. I know, I just talk sometimes. Yeah. I know you're very excited. Yesterday we were actually texting while I was driving over to my photo shoot. And we were talking about this series, so I know that you're super excited for this one.
I am.
This is what happens. We don't do things like normal people. We text while we're driving to photo shoots. Not driving. I was not driving. I was in the passenger seat, but I was in the car. We just talk about books all the time. Lots of fun.
Basically.
Hey, listen, guys, if you are here with us live, we want to hear from you today. Jump into those comments and let us know, what is your favorite contemporary novel? We are super excited because this is not a topic Elle and I are super big fans of. We do enjoy reading contemporary once in a while, but it is not the biggest thing that we have in our favorite books. And so we want to hear from you. Are contemporary novels your absolute favorite? Do you have a favorite? Jump into those comments below. And if you are on the replay, we want to hear from you too. Let us know what your favorite contemporary novels are and give us a shout out in case we didn't talk about your favorite on today's episode. Elle, what do you feel like means the most in contemporary? Why are people drawn to these contemporary novels?
I believe it's because it's most relatable. You know, you can put yourself in the main character's shoes, or maybe you have been in the main character's shoes. It is the most relatable because it's real. It's things that you've experienced or things that you're worried about experiencing. It's the most relatable genre, I think, for teens, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Especially because so much of it is high school based and it's what they're going through right now. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool. I know that you and I kind of read some contemporary. You actually have quite a large stack of contemporary novels next to you. We are going to be getting through some of our recommendations and things that we have read and things that we're about to read that we're going to be talking about on today's episode. But before we jump into the list of things that we are recommending to you, we do have a guest star today. We are hanging out with our dear brand new friend, and I'm trying to grab her name, but it's going a little slow. There we go. Name first, then we bring her on screen. Our technology's been a little bit off today, just a tiny bit off, guys. So please stick with us as we go through today's episode. We are hanging out with Jessie Hart Wilson. She is coming up on screen right now. We're going to talk a little bit about contemporary novels with her, and we're going to hear all about her book as well. So here we go. Jessie, how are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm good. How are you?
We are good, and we're so glad that you're here with us and that our technology is cooperating now. It was a bit of a morning, wasn't it?
It was. Always exciting.
It is. So much fun excitement going on behind the scenes.
Right.
So tell us, why are you drawn to contemporary YA?
Well, I think Elle really hit it on the head because it's very relatable. I really like to read things that I feel like, oh, that resonates. It makes me feel something that it's not foreign, not, something has nothing to do with me, but something that almost mirrors my own feelings. It brings out a catharsis. It's just very cathartic.
It is. And because today's episode is all about back to school, I kind of want to dive in and talk just a little bit about some of our back to school experiences. So I'm going to ask you, ladies, and I know I didn't prep you for this, but I am going to ask you to give us a memory from your high school days. So take just a minute, think it through. What kind of things did you go through in high school? And if you are here with us live, drop a line below in those comments and let us know your favorite memory from high school. And if you're on our replay, we want to hear from you too. Let us know what your favorite memory is. Elle, I'm going to you first. What was your favorite high school memory?
I don't know, because I was at school for school. I really didn't go there to socialize. I was there to learn, and I just wanted to do my time and get out. I think just generally, I had an amazing teacher, and I loved him. And he really made the school years bearable. He was just a joy. And I know that sounds boring. Like, it's not my friends. It was this teacher. And he was kind of just like a life changer. The way that he leveled with the students, and he was all heart and soul. And I loved him. He was like a dad at school for me.
That's awesome. And as a teacher, that is something that I like to hear. So shout out to all the fabulous teachers. Jessie, what is your favorite high school memory?
My favorite high school memory is knowing that every other kid had to wake up super early and go to school, but I got to stay in my pajamas all day because I was homeschooled.
That's awesome. Love that. I feel like that is the best way to do it too. Like,
it totally is.
You have to do all this work. Do it from home. I feel like as an entrepreneur, that's one of my favorite things too. Like, I don't have to necessarily get dressed. I can look cute from the waist up for my show. Thing. I think for me, in terms of my favorite high school memory, it would be my theater arts class my senior year. We actually had this really great theater arts class with a bunch of people from all the different classes. So we had freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in this class. And we got to do plays. And we put them on for little kids, and we got to write our own scenes, and we got to do all of this like fun stuff in the theater. And I just made the best friends in that class. I absolutely adore them. They were my favorite people all through all of my education. And I just had so much fun in there. It was the best class. And I love everything theater arts related. But then to have really good friends, I just feel like that was so much fun. And I if I wrote contemporary novels, I would definitely have to write one about a theater arts class. That's all I'm saying. All right. So we're going to talk just a little bit about book recommendations in a few moments. I'm really excited for this because I know there are so many great contemporary novels out there, but I want to know a little bit about your story, Jessie. So tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, it is kind of a back to school story, but in a very untraditional way, I guess. It is about the aquaphobic daughter of a fisherman turned drug smuggler. And at the beginning of the book, she is living, as she always has, on her father's boat. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but she's sent away for 1 year to a boarding school. That's a very small environment, only 8 students, and a teacher kind of like Elle described. And so he finds out that she's afraid of the water, and she joins the competitive swim team. I don't want to give away, again, no spoilers, because it's kind of suspenseful. And yeah, her hope at the end is that this swimming challenge that she undertakes helps her to be able to escape some secrets that are following her around from the boat.
That's awesome. So now, why did you choose to write about the water and a girl who is a little bit nervous around the water?
I live in New Orleans, which many people do not realize is kind of an island. There's a huge lake to the just right, I mean, a few steps out my door that you can't see the other side of the lake. And then on every other side, it's swamp. So there's no escaping like water. It's just everywhere here. And I don't know, just living in that environment, I thought, like, what would that be like if this was something that was like you said, like scary to me? I would like to feel trapped all the time. What would that be like? So that's kind of what prompted it.
That's so interesting. Now, your personal preferences on water, do you love it? Are you a little bit nervous around it?
I love it. I am about to head out to a lake vacation, and the thing I'm most looking forward to is swimming across the lake. Definitely.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that. Elle, you can jump in anytime. I know I'm talking a lot, but Elle and I try to take turns with questions. It doesn't always work very much.
No, you stole my question. So. Oh my gosh.
That's okay. I can ask more. I do like asking questions. It's just gonna be me talking today. It's a great thing. Yesterday I was in a pool and I was in my mermaid tail, and so I guess I'm just like all water questions today. That's kind of where we're going with this.
No, not me, because I live in Massachusetts, and right now a lot of the ponds are closed because of bacteria, but then the beaches are closing because there was a great white attack and everything. So like, no.
Yeah, water's not necessarily your friend today.
No.
That's so funny. So Jessie, when you were writing this story, what kind of, aside from the water, inspired you to create this story? And did any of your personal relationships with your friends influence what happened in this story?
Such a good question. Did any, I would say that there are elements, I think whenever you are writing a story, you definitely do draw pieces from your own experience. I mean, there's really no parallel. It's like completely fictional, so no parallel to my real life. But it's funny, I had, my sister was reading it, and she said, as I'm reading this, I'm just trying to think, like, each of the characters, is it like somebody we know in real life? And I don't, it's really not. But yeah, I would say drawing on little pieces of relationships that I've had, and, sort of exaggerating and isolating those experiences.
That's so awesome. So switching gears just a little bit, we know that you've got this really great novel out. We're super excited about this. I'm sure everybody who's hanging out with us is thrilled to pieces. And we're going to tell them where they can find you. Oh, look at that. You've even got your cover. Perfect. But switching gears just a tiny bit, because we are talking about back to school and because we are talking about contemporary novels, what other contemporary authors have influenced you or have inspired you to go into this particular area of writing?
I'll jump in. I am such a huge John Green fan. I mean, like, who isn't a John Green fan? But certainly his books, like, they're so well written. The stories are so captivating. And I feel like he does something special. He really touches, like, see? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I was prepared.
You were prepared. Yeah, he really touches, I feel like, the heart of what it is to be a teenager. He totally does. And like my teenager heart, I'm not a teenager anymore, but yeah, oh my gosh, just so good.
That's awesome. Elle, I know we have recommendations that we are hanging out with. Do you have any contemporary authors that you want to give a little shout out to right now? And then afterwards, we will get into our actual piles of books so we don't overwhelm right now.
Right. I think my overall contemporary author would be Colleen Hoover, because I'm not really a huge contemporary and fan. So, but she has this way of grabbing your heartstrings and pulling you in. And I have to applaud her because I'm not really a contemporary person. She has me addicted to all of her work, like automatic buy. So
that's so awesome. And I personally feel that way about Lisa Brown Roberts. She has done such a good job. She is the author of The Replacement Crush. She's got a whole bunch of contemporary novels out with Entangled Teen. And I like Elle, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of contemporary novels. I have to have very specific types of things that I absolutely love, and some of them I absolutely love, but it's not usually my go-to genre. But anything Lisa Brown Roberts, I will set aside any other book that I'm reading to read hers because she's so hilarious as she is writing these stories. And she kind of makes the world seem a little less everyday. So I think my thing is that I don't necessarily like reading about things that I'm experiencing every single day. I like my sci-fi and fantasy, but she just kind of creates these epic worlds in her stories, and I absolutely love them. We'll set anything else down to read her stories. So shout out for our favorite contemporary authors. If you have a favorite contemporary author, jump into our comments and let us know who we should be shouting out today and what books we should be talking about while we're on air. So Jessie, back to you. Tell us a little bit about what you would recommend to people just getting into reading contemporary YA novels.
Just getting into contemporary YA novels. Tune into this show today to get lots of good recommendations, which I'm sure are about to hit us. I don't read that much contemporary YA either. I mean, it's the genre that I wrote in, but I don't read a ton. I'm a huge John Green fan, as I said, and I'm really not a big romance fan either. My novel does not have any romance, but I find that that's something that is almost a given in any YA novel. I do enjoy reading some of the really older ones. I don't know if you remember the one, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. I think it came out in like the 90s or something. I really enjoy those. Something that's, it's not romance focused. Maybe it's a little bit darker. Certainly not anything I can relate to in my real life, but, it leaves you thinking.
And, I kind of like what you said right there. I am a fan of contemporaries that are a little bit on the darker side. So I tend not to go for the light and fluffy. Like, I love my romance. I'm a romance writer for sci-fi and fantasy. But when I'm reading contemporaries, I mostly like those darker stories. So that's actually a really good point because there are those different sides to contemporary novels. Some are very dark and very gritty, and some are light, fluffy, happy romance type things. So I mean, I already know where this is going for all of us, but are you more along the lines of light and fluffy, or are you more along the lines of dark and gritty?
Dark and gritty. Like, leave me something to think about.
Exactly. Elle?
Dark and gritty. I like light and fluffy, like for in-between reads, but I really like dark and gritty. Something that punches you in the chest, something that stays with your head and like invades your dreams and everything. Like I love that.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually got one. Gosh, I wish I could remember the title. I read it a few years ago, and it was just this really great, dark, gritty, contemporary with a serial killer. Oh, The Foxglove Killings. That's what it was. Absolutely love that. Make sure you guys check that out. I would give you the author's name, but I know I'm going to get it wrong. Check it out, though. Very, very good one. Yeah. All right, so let's jump into some of our recommendations. Elle, I know you've got books sitting next to you. You want to tell us what you got?
I do. I have an entire, I'm going to show you my pile, and then I'll kind of like dissect all of these. And I actually forgot one. Speaking of dark and gritty, I forgot one which is Aftermath by Clara Kenzie. I'll shout out that one. Do you have that? Oh, see, there you go. There you go. That is dark and gritty. And when I was talking about what stays with you long after you read it, that's one of those books, because I was dreaming about reading it because I hadn't finished it. And it was just, I couldn't put it down. And it wasn't, I enjoyed it, but I didn't because of what the story is about. It just very upsetting, but it is so good. So
For
good.
those of you that don't know, Aftermath is by Clara Kenzie, who is one of my publishing sisters. Shout out to Clara. This is a story about a young girl who was kidnapped a few years ago, and they actually rescue her from the man that had abducted her and held her captive. And it's kind of the aftermath of what happens when she comes back into her everyday life, how she's functioning with her family, what's happened to her family in the time since she was kidnapped, and just how she's kind of coming back into her life. So it's a very dark story, but it kind of explores what happens after. It's not what happens during, it's what happens after. So we recommend.
Definitely recommend that, because it's the aftermath and piecing everyone's life together and seeing what happened during those years that she was gone. So shout out to that book. It was fantastic. And I will go into one that I actually have, and then I'll let somebody else talk because I have So this is Cinder and Ella. It's it's a contemporary retelling of Cinderella, and it follows these two. One is a movie star, and another is just a basic teenage girl, and she has this online friend. And she doesn't realize her online blogging friend is actually this actor. And when they find out the truth, it's at a Comic-Con. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's light. And it has some dark things in there too. So I definitely do recommend that one.
That sounds pretty entertaining. I actually hadn't heard of that one. How about you, Jessie?
Oh, well, I'll just put in one more plug for this one because it is dark and gritty. It will leave you something to think about. And someone who did read it recently told me that it kept her up at night. She had to read it from 12 to 4 at night.
Oh my
because
God.
she couldn't sleep thinking about it. She was disturbed.
Hey, all right. So if you want to be disturbed, make sure you grab Jessie's book. I'm super excited now. I have not had the chance to read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I hope you can.
All right, I am going to grab my next book. We're going to talk about The Darkest Lie by Pinta Dunn. This is actually a really interesting one. She typically writes more sci-fi, but she actually has a couple of contemporary novels as well. And The Darkest Lie is about a girl whose mother was a teacher and committed suicide because she had an affair with a student. But did she really? We don't know. It's a bit of a mystery. Her daughter has to kind of figure out what happened to her mother, what happened to the other people involved with this. And it's a little bit dark, a little bit mysterious. And I am a good friend of Pinta Dunn. Highly recommend all of her stories. Elle, how about you? What you got for your next book?
Okay, well, this is actually part of a little duology, I guess you would call it. And this is Losing Hope, and the other book is Hopeless. And it actually follows this guy who ends up seeing this girl who looks really familiar. And come to find out, is it really a spoiler? Oh, I don't know. Come to find out, it's a girl he remembers from his childhood that meant the world to her, except she doesn't remember him. And we have to uncover why she doesn't remember, and he kind of ends up spilling the truth, and together they have to explore that truth and what it does to each of them. It's really good. It is one of those dark and gripping books. I absolutely loved it, even though it's YA contemporary, something that I'm not into. The way that Colleen Hoover writes her stories, it just clings to you and just crawls all over you onto the inside, and you can't help but suck the book down.
Awesome. I'm gonna jump back in. I only have a couple more, so let me real quick run through these. We will check back in with everybody else. But if you are joining us live, we want to hear from you. What's your favorite contemporary YA novel? Jump into those comments and let us know. I mentioned Lisa Brown Roberts earlier. I am a big, big fan of Lisa's. And I have a copy of The Replacement Crush here. This is about a girl who kind of has her heart broken by this jerk of a guy, and she decides she is going to get over him by dating a boy who will not break her heart. So she has a very specific list of things that this boy can and cannot be. And when she happens to meet maybe the perfect guy who doesn't check the boxes on her list of people that won't break her heart, she has to spend the summer avoiding this poor boy who is, as Lisa puts it, a gorgeous McNerd. And she cannot escape this boy. And he's perfect for her, and he knows it. And he tries all summer long to get her attention. And she tries not, it might actually not be summer. It's set at the beach, so I assume it's summer. I don't think it's summer. I think it's during the school year, too. It's been a while since I read it. But so, so good. There's cute McNerds. There's adorable people trying to make it up to other people, and I just love it. So anything by Lisa Brown Roberts. She has a whole bunch of them, actually. And then we've got Alexis hanging out with us. Hey, girl. She is a fan of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which we were actually chatting about earlier. But she does like The Replacement Crush as well. So there we go. Lots of shout outs for Lisa Brown Roberts as well. And then just to round off my list, I have copies of If I Stay. And then we've got The Fault in Our Stars, which I actually don't need to get into too much because they were movies and you all know them. Jessie, do you have more recommendations for us?
I have one more. I'm pretty sure it's a YA contemporary. It's The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. And it's the aftermath of something really sad, but it will like rip your heart out and then like very nicely piece it back together. It's such a good book. Really, really a good book.
I like the way that you put that. Nicely put it back together.
Elle, I know you've got some more books. Can you round out our list of recommendations today?
I do. I'm not really going to go into like huge detail about these. So another Colleen Hoover book, Without Merit. Really dark and really kind of messed up, but a good read. Soul Spark by Eliza Tilton. I got this one. Eliza was on one of your interviews. So there is that. And look how beautiful that colorful cover is. To All the Boys that I loved before. I haven't actually read this book. Like I said, it's on my to be read list, which is like through the roof. But definitely something that everybody has been raving about. And I don't know what the mixed reviews are on the movie. But I have heard nothing but wonderful things about the book series. Oh, my pile of books. Anna and the French Kiss. Also another book that I haven't read, but this is one that everybody has raved about. Again, this believe this is part of a series. People rave about that. Lisa Brown Roberts, Spies, Lies, and Allies. I'm halfway through this. This is really a witty read. Like you said, like she has a way of writing, even something that's serious. She has a way of writing and making it funny somehow. You know, just like the tone of it. It's comical.
Yep. It doesn't matter what she's writing. It's hilarious.
It is just the way that she writes. It's funny. It really is. And then I actually just finished this read, which is Queens of Geek. It's a lighter, fluffy read, except it deals with a girl that has really bad anxiety. And I think this is an important read for anybody that suffers from anxiety or somebody that wants to be able to be a little bit empathetic for somebody that has really bad anxiety. That's a good read too. And I'm finished.
We've reached the end of our list. We actually, before we jumped on air today, we ran over to our bookshelves and we're like, this one's contemporary and this one and this one and this one. And this is how we get our recommendation lists. We're pretty fun about that. Jessie, turning back to you, I do want to ask, because you have written a contemporary novel, and Elle and I actually have not published any contemporary novels at this point. That's all I can say on that. We want to turn to you. What advice do you have for writers who are actually looking into getting into writing YA contemporary?
I should say read in your genre, but like I don't, so I guess not that. Talk to a lot of teenagers and like, I don't know, people that age, and listen to what are the things that they're thinking about and like struggling with, and then just like flow from that. I think that was a piece of advice that I received, and I feel like it really did me well. I feel like I learned a lot about just what people are thinking right now, what they're working through. Yeah, and going with that.
Fantastic. All right, Jessie, before we wrap up today, we need to let everybody know where to find you. So where can people find you on the internet?
Okay. You can find my book at on Amazon, Underwater by Jessie Hart Wilson. I am on Facebook, Jessie Wilson. I'm on Instagram as The Butterfly Moments. And you can find me at my website, thebutterflymoments.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on today. We loved hanging out with you today. We are going to see you behind the scenes in just a moment. But any last thoughts for our audience before you say goodbye?
Read on and write good books soon.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jessie. We'll see you in just a moment. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We are super excited because we were talking all about back to school. And if you have a back to school memory, we want to hear from you. Jump in those comments and let us know what you were looking forward to with this coming school year. Or if you are someone who has already graduated, let us know what was your favorite memory from your school experience. We cannot wait to hear more from you. We will be down in those comments below, hanging out with you and chatting a little bit later on today. And if you have a favorite contemporary novel that we did not chat about today, let us know what we missed out on so that we can look into that as well. Elle, oh, what a week it has been, right? It's been very, very busy, but I am super excited because next week you are on vacation and I have a special guest star. So tell us real quick, what are you going to be doing next week while you're on vacay?
I'm going to be camping, and real camping, like in a tent on the ground next to a river where bears roam around.
Yes, you are, and I am not jealous one bit. I'm not a tent girl, guys. Not a tent girl.
There's like no reception up there either, so if you text me, I'm not going to be able to respond.
I won't even be able to reach her. Like, how are we going to survive since we talk 24/7? It might be a problem, guys. Tune in next Monday to see if I've survived without Elle. It's going to be great, guys. Before I tell you what next week's topic is and our fabulous guest star, Elle, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can always find me on my website, which is elbeaumontbooks.com. You can find me on Instagram, elbeaumontbooks. You can find me on Facebook, elbeaumontbooks. And you can find me on Twitter, which is elbeaumont.
Fantastic. And you can hang out with me, k.m.robinsonbooks.com, where I have world portals for all of my different series, all 872,000 of them. Lots of fun things going on there. And we do have some new things coming out very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. You can also hit me up at k.m.robinsonbooks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Come over to my YouTube channel for rebroadcasts of Young Adult Edition and all of my other author interviews, my unboxings, my shows, my events, my book launch parties. We would love to see you over there. There's even some pre-filmed videos, fan Q&A, and all sorts of fabulous things we would love for you to check out. And you can hit up my IGTV channel for exclusive content you cannot find anywhere else. And then join me next Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are here every single Monday on Facebook.com/k.m.robinsonbooks talking to fabulous authors and bookish people who love to come hang out with us. We cannot wait for you to join us. And next week, I actually have audiobook narrator Stacy Glembowski. We are so excited to have her here. She's going to be giving us a tour of her recording studio. She's actually going to be reading some of my upcoming novel, The Revolution of Jack Frost, for us live on air, and she's going to be answering your questions. So if you are an author who wants to start working with an audiobook narrator, come hang out. If you are an author who has worked with an audiobook narrator, but you want to see more behind the scenes, come hang out. And if you are a book lover who absolutely adores audiobooks, or maybe if you're not sure audiobooks are for you, come hang out and see if this is something that you are absolutely going to want to get involved with in your reading life. Cannot wait to see you next week, 10 a.m. on Mondays, right here, facebook.com/k.m.robinson books. There we go. Sometimes I give out too many links. Sorry, guys. Facebook.com/k.m.robinson books. We will see you next week. We're so excited. It's going to be awesome. Give us your well wishes for Elle as she takes a week off and tries to survive living in a tent on the ground. And come back on Monday to see if I've survived. And the following Monday to see if Elle managed to survive. It's going to be lots of fun. Until then, have a great day and stay inspired. We'll see you guys.